Why does Guitar Hero controller calibration fail? Imagine you're ready to rock out on your Guitar Hero guitar, but suddenly the game just won't recognize your strums or button presses correctly. It can be super frustrating, especially when you're trying to beat your high score or just have fun. So, why does calibration sometimes fail in Guitar Hero? Well, there are a few common reasons that pop up, especially during the era of the 2000s when the game was at its peak popularity. First, one big issue is the difference in how audio and video signals are processed by your TV or monitor. Some older TVs, especially those with plasma or early LCD screens, have built-in processing that causes a delay between the sound and what you see on screen. If the game's calibration doesn't account for this delay, your notes might register too early or too late, leading to missed hits. This was a common problem back then because many players used TVs with higher latency, making calibration tricky. Next, the way you set up the calibration process matters a lot. Usually, you need to hold the guitar controller close to the TV speaker or screen during setup to measure the timing. If you hold it too far away or off-center, the calibration numbers won't be accurate. Some players also forget to manually fine-tune the settings after the automatic calibration, which can cause issues with timing accuracy. Hardware problems are another big factor. Over time, the buttons or strum bar on your guitar controller can wear out or become unresponsive. When that happens, the game might not register your inputs correctly, no matter how well you calibrate. This was especially true with third-party controllers or cheaper knockoffs that many players used during the Guitar Hero craze in the 2000s. These controllers sometimes sent signals that the game couldn't interpret properly, leading to calibration failures. Software and driver conflicts can also cause trouble, especially if you're playing on a PC. Outdated drivers or incompatible programs running in the background can interfere with how the game reads your controller inputs. If you're using emulators like Clone Hero, it's important to keep your drivers updated and make sure no conflicting software is running, or calibration might go haywire. Wireless controllers, which became popular later, could also cause issues. Wireless signals can experience lag or interference, which throws off the timing. Calibration can only do so much to fix wireless lag, so if your wireless Guitar Hero controller isn't syncing properly, you might notice persistent timing problems. Sometimes, bugs in the game or the controller firmware itself can be the culprit. Updates or patches were not always available during the 2000s, so many players dealt with imperfect calibration because of unresolved bugs. This added to the challenge of getting everything just right, but it also made the game more memorable. Back in the 2000s, players often had to experiment with their setups. They would enable game mode on their TV to reduce lag, adjust calibration manually, or try different controllers to see what worked best. It was part of the fun and frustration that made the Guitar Hero experience unique. Remember, if your calibration keeps failing, focus on reducing input lag by using a low-latency TV, follow the setup instructions carefully, and check your hardware. Sometimes, just switching to a different controller or updating your drivers can make all the difference. So, in the end, calibration issues stem from a mix of hardware, software, and setup quirks, especially during the height of the Guitar Hero craze in the 2000s. That's what made fine-tuning your setup a memorable part of the game's charm.